for science!
What is up, guys? Willie Dills here, and little bit hungover. We got our sub button yesterday on Twitch, and we had quite the stream. So I'll be putting together a cut of that. You guys can check that out. But we must forge ahead, continue to create content, and bring you guys part 4 of our 5-part Karazhan card review. So today we're going to go over 9 more cards. Let's just get right into it. Protect the King. It's a 3-mana spell for Warrior. It's a rare, and it reads, for each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 pawn with taunt. So Blizzard is clearly trying to make bolster a thing. Let's just put this, though, into the real world, rather than just look at it and go, oh my god, you play a bunch of 1/1s and then you get bolster them, they're all 3/3s with taunt. Let's just picture how this actually plays out. So it's 2 cards, 5 mana for this combo to happen. So if you get 2 minions, that's only 2 3/3s, so that's 6/6 for 5 over 2 minions. Not that great. And it's 2 cards, by the way. So just remember that. If you get 3, obviously you're talking about 9/9 worth of stats for 5 mana. Sounds really great, but the opponent has 3 minions on the board, and these minions don't charge. The opponent then has the opportunity to find value trades, use spot removal, maybe play a weapon, deal with them. Your opponent still kind of has the initiative, right? Now, if you get 4, then, well, you got 12/12 with the stats for 5 mana, but your opponent already had 4 minions on the board on turn 5. You're probably losing that game already. It'd be better, I think, to just brawl in that situation. And also, here's the other thing about Warrior. Warrior doesn't play a game where they sit back and let you build a board. Warrior either is proactively placing minions on the board, getting value trades, being aggressive, Tempo Warrior, Dragon Warrior, or it's removing everything you play the entire game. So what are you going to do? You're not going to play a Fiery War Axe on 2 and start killing things just so you can get insane Protect the King bolster value later? I don't think that's how it's going to work. I don't think you're going to want to do that as a Warrior. So I'm going to put this into the bad card category for right now. I don't think this is actually going to work. I think the Taunt Warrior is just a worse version of Warrior when there's 4 really good premium versions of Warrior right now. RKO Smith. It's a 4-mana 3/2. It's a common. It's neutral. It has a battle cry that reads, summon a 0/5 minion with taunt. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to spend any time on this card. It's a 2-drop that you pay 4 mana for, and it spawns a shield bearer. I'm just going to flat out say no to this card. The Runic Egg. The Runic Egg is a 1-mana neutral common. It's a 0/2. And as a death rattle, draw a card. I really only imagine this working in a buff paladin, since the opponent might just like leave it around rather than killing it, giving you the card. So this may potentially give you a guaranteed minion that you can then buff. But I think in reality, there's just better options at 1. You know, things like Argent Squires and stuff kind of do the same thing and have a 1 attack already, so they end up giving you a little bit more value. Obviously, you don't get to draw the card, but because a deck like that probably plays Divine Favor, this doesn't really play nicely with that deck anyway. So I'm not really sure where this goes. I mean, you could say maybe Zoo, but I don't think Zoo really cares either because Zoo just life taps. So I'm guessing that this goes nowhere, but I'm not sure. The problem is, like, if you pick this, say, in Arena and you don't have buff cards already in the deck, you'll never actually be able to attack with it. So you won't draw the card until you get it killed somehow, which the opponent might just ignore it forever. I mean, 1 mana draw a card sounds really good. Unless you have stuff to buff this, it's not really going to work. And then in that case, you probably just want sticky minions anyway, rather than a minion that just draws the card and has a 0/2 body. But I might be wrong. I don't know. The Menagerie Magician. This is a 5-mana 4/4. It's a neutral, common, battle cry. Give a random friendly beast, dragon, and murloc +2/+2. I'm not sure that this deck is actually going to be a thing, this dragon, beast, murloc deck that they're clearly trying to push. If it is, then this card is really good. Because if you hit 1 minion with it, it's a 6/6 for 5 with 2/2 of that getting charged, right? Because you're hitting a minion already on the board. And if you hit 2 minions, it's 8/8, 4 with charge. And obviously the dream is to hit a beast dragon and a murloc 10 worth of stats for 5, 6 of those getting charged somewhere. And I mean, that's gross, obviously. The problem is that I think if you are playing this deck and your opponent sniffs it out, they will be clearing minions most of the time anyway, and by the time you get to turn 5, it's unlikely that you'll hit more than 1 minion with this in most cases. So, and also, you know, we're talking on 5, how many dragons are actually on the board by then? And how many dragons are actually good at that point, because you're not mixing the dragons with the other dragon synergy cards, because you're also trying to mix in beasts and murlocs. As far as that goes, I don't think that this deck is actually going to be a thing, but if it is, this card is what makes it go, right? This card is what makes that work. We'll just see. I could be absolutely wrong. Maybe this deck is just disgustingly good. You don't really know yet, but I feel like when you spread your synergies out that much, you just end up with no synergy, right? So like I see the merit in the card that draws a bunch of these cards, because drawing cards is good, and you can just put in one good beast, one good dragon, one good murloc. Hey, what do you know? I got a 7-mana 4/6 with taunt that draws me cards. That seems pretty good. But now you're talking about filling your deck full of these archetypes so that you can then buff them with these menagerie magicians. I'm not sold on this yet, but we'll give it a go. We'll see. And I'm sure somebody will come up with something that's at least somewhat decent. I just don't think it'll be like a tier 1 competitive deck. The Pantry Spider is a 3-mana 1/3 beast. It's neutral common. It reads Battle Cry, summon a 1/3 spider. So basically you summon another Pantry Spider, essentially. So you can look at it, you can go, oh my god, 2/6 for 3, that's so good. But the problem is it's really not 2/6 for 3. It's closer to say 2/3 for 3, because it dies to 3 damage. If it was a 2/6, oh my god, the 1/3 is probably actually only worth 1 mana, and so you're paying 3 mana to get 2 of them, and I feel like you're overpaying, and I think that makes it bad. This would trade evenly with a single 3/2, right? A single 3/2 over 2 turns would kill both of these Pantry Spiders and trade, and that's the 2-mana card. If you already have a lot of buffing cards in Arena, you might pick this, but the decks in Constructed where you could see something like this working would be things like Zoo. And in Zoo, you'd rather just play Imp Gang Boss, Darkshire Councilman, Bran, Bronzebeard. There's just other options at 3 that you'd rather play. And I don't actually see this card making the cut in any of those types of decks. Just a bad card, I think. The Violet Illusionist is a 3-mana 4/3 common. It's neutral. It reads, during your turn, your hero is immune. It's an interesting mechanic, one that we haven't seen before. The stats are fine. So in Arena, I think you'll pick this card as just a 4/3 for 3 with a maybe potential upside. Like if you're playing Warlock, maybe you can tap for free sometimes. If you're playing a Warrior or a Rogue or something like that, maybe you'll be able to make some weapon attacks without losing health. So I think in Arena, you'll definitely see this card picked by weapon classes and potentially Warlocks. If you're target constructed, though, I'm struggling to find a place where this would really go outside of a fatigue deck, because in a fatigue deck you could get to the end of the game, have this on the board, and then force your opponent to draw a bunch of cards with Cold Light Oracle, and when you take fatigue damage, you won't actually take fatigue damage, and they will, and you can actually get that finishing damage in. I don't know if that pushes it into actual competitive mode, though. I really don't think it does, but people will have fun doing this, guarantee you that. Yeah, maybe there's some niche concept deck that can figure something out with this too, but I think this is a card that mostly just goes into Arena play. The Onyx Bishop. This is a priest card. It's a 5-mana 3/4 minion. It's rare. It has a battle cry that reads, summon a friendly minion that died this game. So I think that this will see some play, because Resurrect has seen some play, and what this card does is it attaches a body to that Resurrect effect, making it, something that you can do while doing something else, right? So you take the Resurrect out, you put this in, you still get that effect, but now you also attach a body to it, all in one card. Okay, I feel like that is better than just playing the Resurrect card. The problem, though, is that to really make this work amazingly well, you're going to continue to do what Priest already does, which is not play early minions, right? And fall behind on the board, and then try to catch back up at some point later on. And I don't know if it's going to catch you back up enough of the time for this to be a card that really makes Priest great again. It doesn't, I don't think. If you get a 2-drop, I guess you could say you got even value, because it's like this is like a 3-drop, and then you pay 2 more, and if you got, you know, a wild pyromancer from it, okay, you got pretty good stats. You got 6/6 worth of stats for the 5. So in that case, sure, good. It's good. I still think that right now Priest is not looking for stuff like this. Priest is looking for strong early game proactive drops, and or even strong early game proactive removal that allows them to then get to the strong mid to late game. Not quite there. So of course, sometimes it'll summon a Ragnaros and it'll be disgusting, and that's definitely going to happen. But again, it doesn't really fix Priest's problem. So while I think this card is actually okay, it's not what's going to make Priest great again. Okay, we've got now the Priest of the Feast. This is a 4-mana 3/6. Whoa, great stats. It's a common. It's a priest card. Whenever you cast a spell, restore 3 health to your hero. So obviously this card has great stats, but I actually think that the effect is kind of a waste. It's kind of nil. The deck that I could see taking advantage of this is like a Yogg Priest that just has a lot of spells in the deck. Uses this card to gain some value trades and stall out by healing up a little bit, so stalling the game out until you actually get to your big Yogg play. But I think, again, like when people wanted Priest to be really good, what they wanted to see Priest getting cards that were just better than other classes cards, right? And if you look at Mage and they have Water Elemental, same stats, same cost, that freeze effect that Water Elemental has is so much more valuable than this gain 3 every time you cast a spell effect. First of all, Water Elemental just does its thing with no support. You don't have to cast any spells to make it freeze stuff. Just it freezes what it attacks. Priest of the Feast, you're going to have to play this and then do stuff to then gain the effect on the card. Otherwise, it's just a vanilla 4-mana 3/6. And this may be a card that helps Priest in Arena, but I don't think in Constructed it's enough to push them over the top from where they currently stand, which is in a really bad place. When you play Wild Priest, you see why Priest can be good, because Light Bomb and all of the removal options that they have there, mixed in with the ability to put back in things like Velen's Chosen to buff those earlier weak minions to actually do stuff, that would make Priest really good again. But instead we've got some really weak cards now coming out, and then this guy's not enough to fix that. Our final card for part 4 is the Nightbane Templar. It's a 3-mana 2/3. It's a paladin card, and it's common, and it has a battle cry that reads, if you're holding a dragon, summon 2 1/1 whelps. So when you get the full value, you're getting 4 or 5 of stats across 3 bodies on turn 3. That's actually really good. And I do think that this can potentially make Dragon Paladin a real deck. A lot of people tried to make it work, and it didn't quite get there because it was more of a late gamey type control deck rather than what I think the Dragon minions are actually really good for, which is being like a tempo deck. And so I think what this does is it brings it more in line with what makes Dragon Warrior so good, is that it's a tempo deck. It just continues to apply pressure to the board, forcing you to continue to react to that pressure. And a card like this applies a lot of pressure on turn 3. It allows you to then probably have a body on turn 4 that maybe you can Blessing of Kings or do something with a True Silver Champion trading up with a 1/1. You know, like think about on turn 3 you play this, and then on turn 4 you can kill a 3/5 with a True Silver Champion and a 1/1, or with Blessing of Kings and a 1/1. And it's a value trade that actually gets you ahead on the board. That's pretty good. And then there's some decent late game dragons already there, and that to me makes it possible. The problem that I see with this card is that because Warrior, Tempo Warrior, and Warrior just in general is so popular, and there's so many whirlwind effects in the game right now, this might not actually be as good as you think. You know, if you play this on turn 3, and then they play a Ravaging Ghoul to follow up on their turn 3, you now have a 2/2 to the taking 1 damage against a 3/3. So that's not that great. And so as long as Ravaging Ghoul and Tempo and Dragon Warrior and Warrior in general with all the whirlwind effects is so popular, this card will be slightly weaker because of that. In Arena, you probably won't ever pick this card unless you already have a few dragons. And if you do, though, this card might snowball you to victory just by itself. So I think this is a good card. This is a solid, good card. All right, well, guys, that's going to do it for the 4th part of my 5-part One Night in Karazhan set review. We will get the 5th and final part out soon. It is out. You can go get One Night in Karazhan right now. Make sure you pick it up this week if you are planning to do that, so you get the card back, which you only get if you pre-purchase during the first week. And please, if you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and do that. Comment below. Tell me what you think of all these cards. Go check out my Twitch channel. We just got our sub button. We're partnered with Twitch now. That's very exciting. So check that out, twitch.tv/WillyDillsSF. And if you enjoy this type of content, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/WillyDills. So you can check that out as well. Lots of fun stuff going on there. We are announcing the Dills Patron Hearthstone League. It's coming soon. It should be actually starting in about a week. So that's really cool. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Love you guys. Hope you're having a great day. And I will see you for part 5 soon. PM.